And we are live. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Level Up Live. I am Dr. Sharita Gaskins Tillett. I am your host. This is Level Up Live, the show where we highlight the amazing accomplishments of women physicians, both inside and outside of the exam room. So I am super excited about tonight's guest. She's a friend and very knowledgeable, very helpful, and I can't wait to introduce her to you guys. I just want to allow a couple of minutes for folks to come in. If you're watching us live, please say hi in the comments. Leave your questions in the comments because we definitely want to be able to ask our guests the questions. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, and still put your questions in the comments because I will pass them along. So I am going to introduce our guest. Tonight we have joining us Dr. Heather Awad. Dr. Heather is a family doctor in Minnesota who helps professional women over the age of 50 lose weight for the last time. She is also a certified life and weight loss coach through the Life Coach School and has additional training in positive intelligence coaching. She hosts the Vibrant MD podcast, where she discusses weight loss, women's health, and food. Welcome, Dr. Heather.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank you for coming. So, I usually like to start by asking about your journey through medicine. Did you always want to be a doctor? How did you come to be a physician?
Sure. I didn't always want to be a doctor. When I was a kid, I did want to be a veterinarian, so sort of close.
Yes.
And then when I was in college, I liked science a lot, so I took a lot of science courses. But I was looking more at kind of the nonprofit world when I got out. And when I started doing that work, it was very administrative, and I felt very separated from the people that we were helping. And so I thought, maybe I want something that's a little bit more one-on-one with people. And so that's what kind of brought up the idea of medicine to me. I just thought, well, I like science and I want to be doing more direct service with people. So I ended up becoming a family doctor.
Okay. And so why did you choose family over everything else?
I don't, I haven't shared this with people, but I had some older relatives who had a hard time communicating with their own doctors. And so I thought, if I was in primary care, I could help people, be partners in their health journey and help explain things and give them choices about their medications and try to give some other people a better experience than some of my older relatives had had. So
That makes sense.
yeah,
It's hard. And we don't, sometimes we have a skewed perspective because, we speak medicine, but we don't understand how confusing and overwhelming everything can be, especially if you're on multiple medications and you're trying to manage them and make sure that you take correctly.
right.
Sometimes people are uncomfortable asking, clarifying questions because they feel like they should already know the answers and those
Yeah.
kinds of things. I think that's a great reason to choose family. Now, are
And
you
some
still, go ahead, no.
but some medications make people not feel well, and I don't know. I think in the modern era, we're better at listening to patients
Yes.
and working
Yeah.
with them, and giving them other choices. So
And I think that's probably because there are more of us. Us
yes, right,
with the X
right.
chromosomes.
Yep.
We tend to be better listeners.
True, true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So now, are you still in practice?
I'm not. I'm doing all weight loss coaching now.
So why weight loss coaching? How did you go from family medicine to weight loss coaching? Was this a burnout thing or a passion thing or combination? What happened?
I'd been um, I was rounding in the nursing homes during the alpha wave of COVID. And so that was kind of a big experience. And I got done and I liked my job there. But I also then, when everyone got the first round of vaccines, I thought, I should think a little bit more about what my actual dream life is. And
Yeah.
so I, got some coaching myself. And I liked that world a lot. But I had actually also around midlife, I'd done pretty well with my weight. Kind of genetically, I was fairly thin through my life, and then at midlife, all of a sudden my weight just started going up and up without any change in my eating. And so that was really mysterious to me. So I ended up doing a lot of yo-yo dieting and doing a lot of the things that people do that don't work for them. And then researched how we get a bump of insulin resistance around perimenopause and menopause. And so I got really curious about that. And then doing some coaching about stress eating and emotional eating. Then it made weight loss super easy. And I thought, oh gosh, if we put the science together with the coaching, this gets to be a really nice thing for women in midlife and beyond. And so I just decided, hey, this is, having my own business would give me some other freedoms. And so I decided that's what I wanted to do.
Great. And so how do you like it?
I like it a lot. I, get to work with women all over the country because it's not actually doctor patient. I'm coaching with them. So that's really fun. I have the freedom I have a child who lives out of state. I can go visit him and, work from his office there. So it gives me a lot of location freedom. So I've really enjoyed it. And it's been rewarding to help all these women, learn about their own bodies and get over their own hurdles so that they can lose weight pretty simply. And when they're done, they just kind of say, I know how this works now. I can just go on from here, because our bodies just kind of change at midlife again.
Right. So tell us, what are some of the changes that happen at midlife? I know you mentioned the bump in insulin resistance, but what are some of the other things that go on at midlife that make us gain the weight in the first place?
Well, as your estrogen drops, it really is this bump in insulin resistance. That's why people get belly fat too, because it's the insulin resistance. But we also have a lot of cultural factors that work terrible for people with insulin resistance. We eat all day long. Every event we go to has food. Meetings have food. I talk to people who say there's cake in their break room every day. There are donuts, someone else who says there are donuts in the break room every day. So there's a lot of sugar around. But kind of that culture is difficult. We don't eat meals anymore. And our bodies are kind of made for, you hear about these. Oh, shoot,
Yeah, you're fine. You're still on. Can
So
you
when you
hear
read
me?
these, I
Okay.
can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Sorry
right.
about that. I don't know what happened. Oh, now you're out.
I can see and hear you fine.
You're frozen for me.
Okay. Let's see. We're having some technical difficulties, folks. Give us a minute. Come back. Okay. Can you see and hear me now?
Yes. That seems to be better now.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I
All
don't know
right.
what happened with my.
Okay. I don't
So
remember where we
our
went.
bodies are yeah. Well, our bodies are kind of made for winter, and we have stories about people who, move to northern territories and eat in the winter, like one meal a day, and then they live through the winter, and then when food is available again, then they're fine. But we live in this time of perpetual summer where food is readily available all the time. And so it doesn't work well, especially at midlife and beyond, to have food available and eating it all the time.
Okay. So now it's interesting, I think, that we're having this conversation on this week because,
Yes,
Thanksgiving is coming, and that's a time when we definitely tend to overindulge. So what are
right.
some of the suggestions or tips that you can give us to help us to get through the holiday season,
Sure.
without gaining a significant amount of weight?
Yeah. One thing is that if you just take your holidays and make those kind of big eating days, it will all work out just fine. The thing that gets us into trouble is when we have Thanksgiving and then we just roll out and keep overeating for weeks and weeks. And then it gets into all our December holidays, and then people just end up overeating for 6 weeks in a row. So to have kind of set the intention to have some normal days where you eat 3 meals, some protein and some vegetables with those meals, um, not dessert every day, not cookies 3 times a day. Just thinking about like today, I'm going to have a normal eating meal, and so go ahead and have your Thanksgiving, but by Saturday, eat like a normal day again. And that really helps.
Okay. So now your program is just for women over 50, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay. And do you do one-on-one or is it group coaching?
We do one-on-one. We do sometimes have group coaching meetups, but everybody gets one-on-one coaching.
Okay. And then what are some of the can you tell me some of the highlights of your program? Like what distinguishes what you are offering from maybe some of the other weight loss things that are out there? Because, in this society, we're pretty well saturated with
Yes.
weight loss programs and those kinds of things. Yet, the obesity rate keeps climbing. So
Yeah.
clearly, there's a disconnect somewhere. So tell us
Yeah,
about some of the results that you're getting with your clients and what makes your program different.
sure. My clients get going on losing weight, and at some point in the middle say, "This is really simple now that I know what to do." So they really lose weight pretty easily once they can figure it out. And we customize it to each person because I have some people who are like a radiologist who work 7 days on and then are 7 days off, and those days are really different. So we customize for each person how to do each kind of their day. Or maybe it's the work week and the weekend, or they work from home, or there's everyone has their own situation. So we really customize it. And we start by really trying to work on that insulin resistance first, really doing kind of an induction phase to get rid of sugar cravings and get our insulin back in a more normal range. And we can do this without blood tests. And then we go from there to coaching on saying no to foods we don't want. Most, like I was telling you about the person who has cake in the break room every day. She doesn't actually want cake every day.
Yes.
But that kind of thing, or food pushers, and just the fact that food's around all the time.
Right.
Um, so that kind of thing. And then in the end, what we do is we tweak everything to make sure that people love how they're eating, so they can picture staying how they're eating for the next at least 10 years, so that when they're done with the program, they feel really solid going forward, and knowing that they're eating what they like. I haven't put them through something where they're like, oh, when you get done, you're like, oh, I hated that and I'm done with that. By the end, they're on a path that they love. And then we also do alumni calls once a month so people can pop back
Mhm.
in, ask questions, coach, talk about, their wins, talk about their struggles. I live in the North Country, so the change of season is funny. People are like, it's winter, and now all I want is comfort food, and can we talk?
Yes.
And so we have kind of ongoing support too.
So what kind of results are you seeing?
Well, I would say that a lot of people work with me for about 12 weeks, and many will lose 20 to 30 pounds in that time. Some go slower, but people who are willing to come to all their personal check-ins, that's kind of our typical weight loss. There are people who sign up for the program and do not come, and they do not lose weight. So
Yeah.
I think
Well,
the
I mean, you can't.
accountability there is
Finding
really
what doesn't
helpful.
do it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
that's
20 to
that's
30 pounds, that's pretty impressive. Are they managing to keep it off?
they are. They are. I'll usually get an email, when actually, again, with the change of season, someone will say I had to buy a bunch of new clothes because I, you know, still have this weight loss. People keep in touch, and and have let me know. I actually just saw someone. I was in Michigan and had a meet up with someone, and she had been done last February, and she pulled up her shirt to show me. I was like, "Oh, this is hilarious. She's so sweet."
Oh, wow. Wow, but
Um,
that must be gratifying for you that that you're able to help so many people to achieve their goals.
it is. And like I said, we work with regular food people like, um, people, we talk about or we think about what kind of, if you've got break room in the cake in the break room every day, how often do you want to eat cake? And have some sometimes,
Right. So now are
Yeah.
you mostly focusing on diet, or are there other aspects of the person's lifestyle that you address?
We really focus on eating and eating timing. So when you're, again, when you have this insulin resistance, which works for people in midlife, it's best to have some time when you're not eating. So about half of the people in my program will do some sort of eating window or intermittent fasting, and
Yeah.
about half will eat 3 meals and then only have a snack if they're hungry in between. So never to entertain themselves. Um, and we do the coaching again, if someone's bothering you at work, to do something that isn't eating, that kind of thing.
Hmm. So you don't deal with exercise and stuff like that. It's mostly about the food.
Really about the food. When we get toward the end, I talk about exercise with people because it's so good for our health and it's really good for weight maintenance. Um, but it's not really well proven to help with weight loss that much because you can't outrun a bad diet.
Sure.
And it's funny because we fill the gyms as a
We
society, we
do.
fill the gyms every January, but it's really about the food and not restricting, but eating some protein and some vegetables, having some healthy fats, nourishing our bodies, and having some time when we don't eat.
And so the things that you recommend to your clients are different, I assume, or how are they different from what you would typically see someone recommending to a 25-year-old who needed to
Sure.
lose weight?
Definitely, I recommend that people do not graze or eat small amounts all day long because that really doesn't work at midlife and beyond. Um, what else? Calorie restriction for a lot of people at midlife does not work because it sends your cortisol up. And so your body feels like there's some sort of emergency. There's not enough food, hang on to everything we have. Um,
Which is
with that,
the exact opposite of what you want, huh?
right, right. So you're not eating and you're not losing weight. It's pretty terrible. So,
Yeah.
um,
So I think it's interesting that you say that this change came about in you during COVID. I'm kind of backtracking a little bit because I
yeah.
think that happened for a lot of people. I think COVID, kind of gave us the pause, if you will, to evaluate our lives. To say, okay, is this really what I want, or maybe I want to do this in another way. I want to serve in a
Yeah.
different capacity. So I think it's great that made that assessment, that you got the coaching, and that you're doing this wonderful service for other women.
Yeah, thanks. I think so too. It's helped people examine kind of the path they have, and I think doctors are kind of opening their minds to what other possibilities there are with their skills too.
Yeah, yeah. Now, where do you see this business going in the future?
I'd like to watch it grow. I sometimes think, do we want to do something that's more kind of general menopause related? Because I do this positive intelligence coaching, which helps people with more life coaching type of issues. And I do get some clients who come for the weight loss and then stay on for life coaching. So I think, could there be a greater, like start with weight loss, but then go into a more broad menopause program if people were interested in that.
Uh-huh.
But right now we're just doing this.
Okay. So if people are interested in working with you, where can they find you?
Sure. If you go to heatherawadmd.com, there's places to sign up for a real results strategy session where I talk to people with no charge and give them kind of their next best steps. On that page, also, there's a free mini course for weight loss for women over age 50, and it's some 3 short videos that they can get started on as well.
Excellent. Now tell us about the podcast because we haven't talked about that at all. The
Sure,
Vibrant
sure.
MD podcast.
Yeah. When I noticed people were starting businesses, I thought, well, some of them had podcasts, so maybe I should do that too. And it has been fun. I started, I talk about kind of healthy weight loss, um, some coaching issues too, just about self-esteem and, having your own back, working with difficult people in your life. And then we've moved also into having, part of the time we do interviews with experts that I think will resonate with our clients.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay. So now do you find that self-esteem and conflict and those kinds of things play a role in people's difficulty with weight loss?
yes, I do. Because we all have this kind of mean voice in our head that, in the positive intelligence world, we call it the voice of the judge,
Yeah.
who's always telling you did it wrong, you're doing it wrong. Why didn't you do it perfectly? Why did you eat that thing? And it turns out that it doesn't actually help you lose weight. So um, people will say, well, that mean voice got me through grad school, and an inspiring um, kind of self-love voice actually is more helpful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more inspiring for weight loss, actually. So as we are kinder to ourselves, I find that people lose weight more easily. And then there's just a lot with, there are a lot of issues with other people. Most people have something with other people that comes up, whether it's, I have to go to networking events and it's very awkward and I am standing by the food, or they have a relative who loves them with food and they might have to say, no, thank you, or not take the food or not eat it then, or, and some people have food rules with their friend group, and it's pretty
Yeah.
fascinating. Yeah.
Interesting. So what's been the biggest surprise for you during this process? What unexpected thing maybe happened?
The thing that has been so surprising to me is how much I've enjoyed kind of helping these women free their minds, as they've gone through this process, because a lot of them are going through transitions because late 40s, early 50s, 60s, life is changing again, right? Kids are leaving the nest if they have kids, or they're also deciding on their next act in their career. Um, and their relationships change then with their partners as well, because so many other things are going on. And so it's fun to be on that journey with them as well, and help them choose to do things that they want to do. Because a lot of them, like the doctors that you interview, were caretakers, right? We've taken care of our parents and our children and our patients.
Yes. And not
So
ourselves.
yeah, which is what you do too, right? Is
Yes.
giving
Yes. Not
time.
ourselves.
Yeah, your retreats help people get time for themselves, and um, so it's pretty. I love that part. That's probably my favorite part.
Yeah. Do you find that a lot of women who come to you, what's the word I'm looking for? Surprise is what's coming, but that's not the right word. Um,
Mhm.
that they didn't, fail to recognize that this weight gain that they're experiencing is related to the normal aging process, to the midlife, the hormonal changes.
I think what that surprises them, I mean, I think in the 40s, they're surprised, like, why is this going on? Is this only happening to me? And then when they get to 50s and 60s, they think, um, oh no, when you get older, you get this weight gain and you're stuck with it because they try the things that worked for them when they were younger and they don't work now. And so they think, oh no, I'm stuck with this. And it's very uncomfortable, when you've had a big change in your body, and
Yeah.
then, so I think that's what I hear from my clients.
Uh-huh. Um, all right. Are there any last things that you would like to say?
I just encourage people to be kind to themselves and to nourish themselves. Eat some healthy food during the holidays. Um,
In
and
addition to all of the other things
in
that are
addition to all
there.
the other things, yep. And notice the things too that are great about the holiday that aren't food and drink. Sometimes I think that's really helpful as well too. Um,
Yeah,
it's
to
funny.
be
I kind of
around the
refer
food
to
because the holiday is not supposed to be about the food anyway, right? Especially
yeah,
Thanksgiving is about being thankful and, gratitude. And, yes, we're thankful that we have food, but we're also thankful for the people in our lives.
yeah. And if someone came and stole the food, you'd still want to get together with your people, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's true. So now, why I did think of one other question I wanted to ask you. Why women over 50 specifically?
Um, because I wanted to work with women who are having this midlife weight gain. And I still, oh gosh.
Because I'm sure there's some women who begin in the 40s, right?
Yeah. And actually I do get people in their 40s who reach out to me, and I work with them also.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And
yeah.
I usually like to end on the same question or variation of the same question. So if I'm a midlife woman and I'm looking to up level my weight loss, what is the single best thing that I can do?
The single best thing you can do is eat 3 meals a day that are nourishing, and try and only ever have a snack outside of those 3 meals if you're truly hungry.
Okay. Well, very good. Thank you so much, Dr. Heather. If you're a midlife woman and you're gaining weight and you don't know where to turn, look up Dr. Heather. Tell us your website again.
They can go to heatherawadmd.com.
And then also don't forget to catch her on the Vibrant MD podcast. All of her contact information will be in the comments. So I thank you very much for joining us this evening. Again, if you're watching the replay, don't hesitate to leave your questions or comments in the comment section. We're happy to respond to those. I wish you all a very happy and safe and healthy Thanksgiving holiday. Like Dr. Heather said, it's more about the people than it is about the food. And try to contain your eating to just that day. We all love the leftovers, and all of the holiday parties will be beginning and those kinds of things. But let's not self-sabotage. Let's try to stay on track and meet our goals. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Dr. Heather.
Thanks for having me.